Hello, this is KiwaniTalk. My name is Ray Scaboria. I'll be your host for this evening's program. KiwaniTalk is a public information program brought to you from the facilities of WDHS at Dearborn High School. And today we have a special guest. He is the gentleman, Adam Rauscher, who is the teacher, and he's responsible for this facility. If something goes wrong, I guess, Adam, you've got to go out and get some help and get it fixed, huh?
I mean, good thing I'm here, just in case.
Adam, why don't we start? Give us a little of your background. What got you into the television business, we'll say?
I grew up in New York, and I was lucky to be involved in a lot of school theater, both at my high school, which had a long tradition of theater. I was in school plays with Lin-Manuel Miranda, who created Hamilton, and Chris Hayes, who hosts a show on MSNBC now.
And that's something, yeah.
And then from there, I went to the University of Southern California, where I studied screenwriting, and jumped from there into television. And like a lot of people who worked in TV, I was a bit of a nomad. I worked in LA for a while, and I wrote dialogue for a video game for the US Army, training soldiers in nonviolent negotiation tactics. I created promotional videos for BP. And then I went to New York, where I worked mostly in reality television. Shows like My Life as Liz, Engaged and Underage, 16 and Pregnant, which are some of my more interesting ones. A lot of work for BET, VH1, MTV. And, I left television thinking I knew I wanted to go into teaching, and I thought I was going to be a social studies teacher. And Dearborn and I found each other right when their television teacher was retiring, and I was lucky to find the job.
Yeah, that's great. And I know when you started here, you also had an event in your family that you had some children about then.
Yeah, I was holding one of my babies. They were exactly a week old when they called me to offer me the job here. Yeah. I have two twins who are 5 years old now.
Yeah, well that's and it sounds like in the TV business you kind of are inclined to move around, because the job opportunities change. And and of course, this school has had the video program for many years. It evolved from let's see, I guess it was before video. It was an audio thing, but it became video, and then video keeps evolving with the technology. Because the first TV cameras were monsters, weren't they? I'm not sure the live TV. I'm not sure what the recording was like in those days. Was that on tape? I guess it must have been on tape.
There's been a lot of evolution through of what they use. I was there in the industry for the digital revolution. Okay. There was a time when everything they did was on film. And that was well before I was born. And then and then they moved into tapes, and you had different generations of tapes. We think about what we use at home, and we were using VHS. There was a big war between VHS and Beta, and VHS won and Beta lost. But there were a bunch of TV networks that bought Beta equipment, and they were still using Beta for a long time after. And these cameras that we have in here right now, they still could record on tape. We use them to run a digital signal into the control room, but they're technically still tape cameras.
I see. That's interesting. I know that our shows were on tape in the early days. Now, of course, they're digital now, and Ken can run around with a little, what would you call it? One of those little
like a thumb drive?
Thumb drives, and the shows are on there. They hold a lot of information nowadays. Yeah. But that was the problem in the old days. The tapes were kind of bulky things. Yeah. Now you have several classes in here with the students. What are the classes? Give a little description of the classes that the students can have the option to take here at Dearborn.
Well, I still teach one economics class,
Okay.
which there are not a lot of film teachers who are doing that. But then for 4 periods a day, I teach film and video. I have 3 different classes I teach. I just started last year teaching film study, which is film as literature. We watch movies, we discuss the techniques, the themes, and the ideas, and how to talk about the movies. I love teaching that class, but the real thing that makes Dearborn unique is we get our hands very dirty. And so I teach studio productions, which is the beginner class. That I get a lot of random students. I get students who, this is their dream and they're ready to start. I get students who, think this might be a fun elective, and I get students who will tell me to my face, I don't want to be in this class. I try very hard to win them over, and I think that one of my favorite things as a teacher is I will find a student who their counselor shoved them into this class because it fit their schedule, and then suddenly they're like, oh wow, I'm an audio person. I know how to work the soundboard. I know how to rig up microphones, and now they want to join the next level, which is the advanced classes. Advanced movie making or advanced video. They're essentially the same class, although they will be different based on what the students want. And that's really our bread and butter. That is where we make big projects. We spend all year working on movies. We just picked our 5 movies we're making this year. We were making Obsessed, Pink with Envy, Digital Confinement, Harvey, and a sequel to Beyond the Darkness from last year. And they'll spend the entire year planning out their shoots, getting their locations, getting their props, revising their scripts, going out onto locations, shooting, coming back and editing, special effects, and the students do all of that.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the names. Are these names, they didn't ring a bell with me. Were these names that the students created, or are they names that I should know about?
Well, they pick their projects. I try very hard not to have much influence on what projects they decide to do. I coach them in writing their scripts. I coach them in rewriting their scripts. But the students, they vote on which projects to do.
So they pick those names for the...
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now,
and that's the starting phase. Then you have a whole lot of work to do after that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Beyond the Darkness is a sequel. Last year, we had a movie called Beyond the Darkness. We went to the Michigan chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. We won 4 student production awards with that movie. It won for Best Short Film, Best Director, Best Cinematography, and Best Sound.
You mentioned five productions that are going to be developed. Now, each one of those, I imagine there are students that are assigned to that one, or that's their baby, okay? And how many students would be involved in each one, approximately?
We have, the people who are department heads, the people who are the editor, the cinematographer, the audio, the producer, and the director. Those 5 people are really the people who are, this is their lifeblood, this is, what they're focusing on all year. But we have 31 students in the advanced class. And so there are students who are helping out in other ways. They're being a camera operator on the project, or they will act in one of the projects, or just come to the set and be a production assistant. Yeah.
So you might have a cast that includes 4 or 5 other people that aren't the main production personnel.
Yeah.
So these shows take a while to do, and now you don't film them all here in the school, do you? It's kind of up to the students, and they have to set up their location and arrange equipment to be moved when it's moved, and then get it back after it's moved.
I will tell you that students say, is this class easy? They think, oh, this is a blow-off class, and it's not. It's a lot of work. They're shooting on weekends and after school, and we used to have the students here editing all night long when we're trying to get our final edits done. And, you know, thankfully we have the ability to, you know, put the editing programs on the students' computers at home. So now if they're staying up late editing, they just do it at home. But it is a huge effort for the students to put into it. And if somebody shows up here wanting an easy class, I say it's a lot of fun, and it's really fun work, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. And I know we've been here doing our KiwaniTalk, you know, which is, we tape on a Thursday night, usually early in the month. And we've had students go out and come back in during that period. And they've been pretty good. They haven't disrupted us too much, but it's interesting to see them come and go when they're in the middle of a shoot someplace that they have to do, and then come back and bring all the equipment back and all the other all the cast and whatever, you know.
And I mean, I'm sure you guys have come in here on some Thursdays, and the studio has not been easy to work in, because it's a working studio, and there's equipment everywhere where people are trying to get stuff done.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the situation of keeping equipment working. How things happen, I'm sure, on a continual basis. And they have to be, first you have to figure out what it is, and then you have to, sometimes you need some help getting them fixed.
Well, I will tell you that I try to teach my students about troubleshooting, that you have to isolate the problem and figure it out. So, you know, if there's an audio problem, is it the microphone? Is it the cable? Is it where you're plugging it in? Is it in the board? And you have to isolate each step of the way and figure out what it is. And, you know, sometimes diagnosing the problem is half the issue. I mean, right now, just now, we've got 2 Kino lights that light up the back of the set, and this one is functioning perfectly, and this one is not. And we thought it was the bulbs, and I spent an hour plus today switching out the bulbs, and that was not the problem.
Not the bulb.
And we went over here, and the ballast is working. It's lighting up, but then it's not coming over here, so we don't know if any juice is getting here. So we're trying to figure that out, and then we have this camera over here. The tripod, the tilt screw has been stripped a little bit, and you know, I think it's hard for other teachers to understand how much time I'm spending just chasing around all of the minor issues in the studio. And then plus the amount of time I spend writing grant applications to try to get funding for repairs and new equipment from a bunch of different sources.
Yeah. Now, how about repairs? I think we have a gentleman who has helped you with repairs in the back. Is it Dave Ranowski? Is that the right name?
Yeah, Dave Ranowski. He is a graduate of this program.
Okay.
And he loves the program. He volunteers his time to come in here and make repairs. And I know he's come down here to help you guys on occasion as well. Yeah. So any repairs that get made, he does in his spare time.
We had, well, of course, there was COVID. And, of course, the schools were closed. Okay. So, so there's no place we could do our show. So we went out, and Dave apparently helped us get some, he referred us. And we ended up getting equipment so we can do shows in the summer. These are smaller cameras. It's a smaller system, but Ken's been pretty good with it. And so we were finally able to get back on the air with shows once, even though school wasn't open yet, you know. And so Dave helped us out too.
He works with the Dearborn Cable Fund, who I know that you guys get grants from the Dearborn Cable Fund as well. That is our biggest source of funding. Yeah. And you know, they're very generous to help keep the studio up and running. They're not the only people I'm getting grants from, but they are definitely our biggest source of funding, and we really wouldn't exist without them.
Adam, we're going to have to take a short break here. We have a little commercial for Kiwanis, and Join us again with Adam Rauscher here, the teacher at Dearborn High in the video programs.
It's easy to get caught up in the details. The day-to-day grind, numb to the noise, going round and round and round. Deep down, there's something missing, a void inside, a hole to fill, a life lacking. Then, in a minute of clarity, it hits you. The aha moment. You're needed. Kids need you. Kids of all kinds. All these funny, rambunctious, sweet, attention-seeking, vulnerable bundles of energy. They need your love and support. Some have huge life hurdles. Poverty, disease, hunger. And they're reaching out for you. Around the corner, around the world. You are a Kiwanian at heart, a role model, a guide, a builder of dreams. Together, we are Kiwanis, passionate and strong, ready to move mountains or grains of sand. Imagine every child reaching their potential. The power to help is in you. It's not about us. It's about them. Do you hear the call? Kids need Kiwanis. Kiwanis needs you.
Hello, here we're back on KiwaniTalk. We're with Adam Rauscher. Adam is the teacher in the video program here at Dearborn High. Adam, it's nice to enjoyed talking with you before the break. Now you were talking about the students will make 5 movies or productions in the second half of the year. Well, actually, from now on, that's not the second half of the year.
Yeah.
Give us a little description how that goes. There's writing involved?
So I suggest the students start writing over the summer. And they get the whole month of September, or almost, to write their scripts. And then students read each other's scripts and they vote on the movies they want to make. Okay. Then after we pick the directors, students have to come in and pitch, which I think is just an important skill to develop. They come in and they explain, this is why I should be the director, this is why I should be the producer, this is why I should be the cinematographer. And they pitch to the class, and then based on their pitches, based on what I know about their skills and their experience, then we'll pick our directors, our producers, cinematographers, editors, sound, and everybody on down. And now we've nailed down our crew. Next week, I'm going to sit down and we're going to build the whole production schedule for the year. I'm going to sit down with our producers. We're going to look at everybody's availability, and we're going to do 2 movies in phase 1, 2 movies in phase 2, and then 1 movie in phase 3. They'll take about a month to shoot, and then after that, they edit. And our whole goal is to get all of the movies edited by the end of February, so we can submit them with the Academy.
I see. So you've gone through the selection of the staffs.
Yes.
That's been done. And so now you're going to the next step, setting up for the production of the first 2 movies.
Yes.
Yeah. And that takes about a month, but I'm sure there's some build up to start time, and yet, so do you get you probably try and get 1 done before Christmas, is that right?
Well, we tried to have phase 1 film in November, phase 2 film in December, and then phase 3 film in January.
Okay.
But post-production can take a while. we're hoping that Beyond the Darkness might be phase one because it's very ready script-wise, but I know they have a lot of things to be concerned about with their audio and sound effects, and I think they're probably going to be trying to work in some special effects too.
It gives you a feeling for how complicated it is to put a production together. I mean, it's quite an education for students, especially ones that might be interested in staying in the business, maybe making that their life's work. And there's a number of people that have done that from Dearborn High, gone on to make it a career.
We have, we tend to have a lot of cinematographers. That seems to be what most of our students end up doing. And we've had 2 cinematographers come in and talk to the class. One of whom, he is a Steadicam operator. He also is a cinematographer as well, but Steadicam is his specialty. Those are the cameras that have mounts so that you can run around with them and still get a steady shot. And he came in and talked about it and showed us his rig. We have another cinematographer whose specialty is comedy sports. He works on Wipeout on ABC, where people try to jump from one thing to another and fall down in the water. And for some reason, he's great at filming those. Our most famous graduate is probably Steve Turner, who is a television producer. He started on Northern Exposure, and he's worked on Gilmore Girls, Big Love, Boardwalk Empire, and Goliath. He was the showrunner on Goliath. And what's actually really exciting is when I can put more recent alumni in touch with older alumni. And he recently had coffee with one of our alumni and gave her a little bit of career advice out in LA.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Nothing like rubbing shoulders with people that are in the business and successful. And if you get advice from them, that's pretty good advice. And who knows? Every once in a while, it might lead into a job. You never can tell.
I mean, having been in entertainment, it really is who you know. It's not, but who you know is usually people who you went to school with and people who you met working on productions. But I will tell you that if you graduate from a program and then you meet somebody else from that program, you know what they know. And I'm only in my 6th year here, but I am trying very hard to keep the tradition going. And if people, graduate from this program, anybody else who's graduated from it, they know they've got their hands dirty. They filmed something. They stayed up all night on an edit. They know what it's like to really make an actual movie, an actual TV show. I
remember there was an ad on TV, a beer ad, and the young, I believe it was 2 young men that produced that. It was the one where the guys came in dressed up on ladies' night, like ladies. I don't know if you remember that, but I believe the young men were Dearborn graduates. This is a while back. My mind goes back. Being my age, I get these flashbacks all the time. I realize that you need to get the movies done because the submission for judging and so on and showing and all that is in the spring. Where do the movies go for possible awards if based on their quality?
So there are 2 main contests we participate in. There's the Michigan Student Film Festival, which is local here, and it's run in part by DAFT, Digital Arts, Film and Television, which is an educator association, and also in part by the Motion Picture Institute. And then we also participate with in the Student Production Awards with the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. That has different regions. There are, I think, 20 or 21 regions, and Michigan has enough film production that we have our own region. And so we send our movies there, and most of us teachers who send our movies there were also the judges of the contest. Now, I submit to high school, so I'm only allowed to judge college, which I think is fair.
Okay.
But
we try and keep unbiased judges on on the roster, so to speak.
Yes, and but it's a great kind of event, and just seeing all of the work that the students are doing, it's really impressive, and then we have a big event where they can show up and they get awards to take home, and we take pictures. It's one of the best nights of the year.
Now, where are the movies shown? Are the movies shown here at school so that students can see the productions?
Yeah, we have a screening. This year our screening is near the end of May. I should have come on prepared with the dates. I believe May 20th and 21st. And we show them here in the school auditorium. They see all of we call the big movies the bigs, and then we also throw in a bunch of other work we do throughout the year, our commercials, our public service announcements, music videos, and just little oddball projects that end up being something really exciting.
Yeah. Well, Adam, we're down to a couple minutes here, and it's been extremely interesting talking to you, and hearing all the details of doing a program like this with the young people, and all the mechanical and I don't mean mechanical, electronic, all the equipment issues, and then the issues. I mean the writing and all the other issues and the organizing. It's really fascinating to hear that the kids produce these movies and come out with a real entertaining product when they're done. Now, what do you see happening in the future? I know the equipment's always an issue.
Well, we're hoping to replace these cameras in here sometime soon, and we want to upgrade our computers at some point as well. The thing about technology is, even if you're taking great care of it, and sometimes teenagers don't, it still just becomes outdated over time. So, we have to go through updates and overhauls as we go. I know that, our students have goals of wanting to produce more movies and to, just record more things. And I really kind of view it as I try to let them lead the way,
Well, I hate to say it, but our time is up, and I really have enjoyed the talk with you today. Thank you very much for all the work you do with the young people.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for joining us on KiwaniTalk. Please join us again soon.